County Council meeting to order for May the 8th, 2025. Bow our heads for prayer. Gracious Lord, thank you for this day. Whatever we do, we benefit of our community. Take us safely back to our place of residence. Heavenly Father, just give us strength to do the right thing and be honest. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
First thing on the agenda, we'll approve the minutes. Can I have a motion to
I make a motion.
Approve the agenda first.
Approve the agenda. Yeah.
That's it. What was that? Okay. He approved the minutes there. We want to first approve the agenda, but we have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'm looking to approve the agenda.
Second. Okay. We got a motion in the second to approve the agenda. Back up a little bit, with the motion to approve the minutes of the previous minutes. Was Tom here? He was at the last one.
It wasn't.
I thought I was.
Right.
I should be one to approve it.
It's okay.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'm motion to approve the minutes.
We have a second.
Seven.
Okay, minutes stand approved. We got this, get into the old business, the drainage problem, and collapse drainage ditch pipe.
Yes, that's the one that I brought up a couple meetings ago, that Mr. Donnelly, that big ditch all the way down, to Elm Street. Mr. Kenton and Ms. Jean McLean came, to the public hearing the other day, which they thought it was maybe about this, but it wasn't. But anyway, they were also talking about the drainage ditch pipe, because it's collapsed. That's all those pictures I attached to the thing that I showed y'all before. It was a big project, so we tabled it last time until we could, because we don't have the manpower as the city to do it ourselves. We have to contract it out. But I just wanted y'all to be aware that I'm trying to get a grant for it. There is a emergency drainage grant that I'm working on with Andrew Nelson for the emergency management, and to see if we can perhaps get that, because that is something emergent. So hopefully we can get that grant. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Any questions for the city manager on that problem? All that is?
No.
Okay, now we'll move to the next business. IGA agreement for the prisoner, demolition.
Yes, sir. Jacqueline sent me an email, and they are demoing the old prison out there, and the housing authority actually owns the property, but since the property is located in the city, they just needed our consent to demo it.
Yes.
And I just wanted y'all to be aware, because she wanted me to bring it up to y'all. Tom and Deanie had to sign it, but she wanted me to bring it up and let y'all know that that's what they're in the process of doing, and that the new building that's behind it, she said that they're gonna use that to become a community resource center.
Right.
So there's nothing you have to vote on. She wanted me to let y'all know that they needed, Tom's consent, and y'all's, just make sure y'all are okay with it.
So we kind of making a little headway on that.
Yes, sir. They're getting it ready to demo.
Right. So thank you. I've been working on that 9 years.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm just a hundred.
It's a little bit better, further along.
Right, that's good, that's good.
Okay.
I can see that coming up.
Next, last ending June the 30th, 2025.
Yes,
Right around the corner here.
that's right, and I put the letter from the Georgia Department of Revenue that, Jacqueline sent me, that came to the Board of Commissioners. They just said that it's going to be, that's the special purpose local option sales tax that we get, that it's going to end on June 30th of 2025. And then she said that they'll, meet again, go over and try to see when it's gonna start back up, but she wanted us to know, because we get that every month and now we're not going to.
I think they're supposed to have a meeting, this next Monday, but the following.
Following Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the commissioner have a meeting, right?
Next month, yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay. On item 3, group attendance at the, Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I wanted y'all to see the pictures that I had Brian take. They called and let me know that those cedar shakers, that it was leaking just a little bit. And when he got up there, it was squirrels. Squirrels have been eating the cedar up. And so it's causing a little bit of a leak. But I had him, I got with Laura because we're gonna have to see if we have to replace it with cedar shakers to keep the integrity of the, it being a historical building. But if we do, Brian priced it, and for to tear them all off and put them all back, materials and labor is $47,075. If you go back with architectural symbols, like on the depot, then tear them off and put them back, and all materials and labor would be at $16,885, which is a big difference. And then if by chance they agree to metal, which squirrels won't be able to eat good metal, to tear it off and put it back on and labor, it would be $14,285. You don't have to vote on it tonight, just wanted to give you an idea and see what we're gonna do, because, we gotta get it fixed. We gotta get the carpet put out, since the rain's coming, but there's a big difference in those prices. So, I'm gonna try to get with Ken Robbins and all, and Jim Brown, and see if historically we have to go back, it's gonna cost a lot of money, so I don't know. Then I'll bring it back up for a vote, like if we're gonna do it through a insurance claim or however we're gonna do it. But I just wanted you to be aware of the names.
If we have to use the historic, those, can we ask if we can get like a lookalike? Or it actually has to be, I mean, when you're asking,
Yeah, we can ask, I can ask.
because there was some lookalikes, synthetic.
Yeah.
I'll ask and see. I just have to know, she said if they have had grants like for it, then it may be specified that it has to be that, but she was looking into it for us.
Okay.
Any questions for item 3, group attendance? We'll go on down. What's the stuff, west of the Homerville selling that? Who's got, you, the attorney, who's from,
Yes, sir, we filed a lawsuit, in magistrate court for that damage. And, we reached a settlement for $15,000. That is the limits of what the magistrate court can award. The court can also award attorney's fees, but we would have to have a motion and go to a hearing and all about that. So I think the $15,000 includes all of the damages to the sign, and I think it's about 80% or so of the attorney's fees.
And we were out the check, so we're good.
So I think y'all generally been made whole with that. We were worried, but ultimately we were able to kind of lasso them in Savannah state fair somewhere and get their kids to play with.
It's all set.
It's all set.
That's part of my city. Okay, now, any questions from the settlement? No one? Okay, zoning board there.
Okay, y'all have to vote on these. The zoning board, we had a, zoning board meeting. There was one was a variance that's in front of you, that was on 306 West Forest Avenue. The couple that lives there, they, just wanted to put a brand new camper behind their home, which is fenced in, going to sit on the road for their mom, because she's in the early stages of dementia, and they were trying to give her a little bit of independence until they can't anymore. So the zoning board approved it, but y'all ultimately have to, decide if you want to go with that also. And, it's going to be, so go ahead and we're going to change the variance, which I got next. Yeah.
What you say about the change?
He changed the variance, that's the next thing.
Okay.
But would that apply to this right here?
Well, no, they've had quite a few people come ask about these RVs being used, and the zoning ordinance, we talked about it from 1988, and it's got some, a little bit, needs to be modernized a little bit, and they may have approved this and then want to end up recommending making a change to the zoning ordinance regarding RVs. That's the next topic that I have drafted, to allow permits to be used to use an RV for situations like family health and stuff, but those permits have a limited amount of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the paper that I read, I thought you had to have a hearing or something to change this, I make an amendment on
We
it.
did, this is just on the
Yes,
response.
so that's not in effect what I drafted. That's for us to review and see if it's something that y'all want to do, and the zoning board wants to ultimately recommend to the city council to make that change. So I got it out. I had indicated to the zoning board that I thought it could be a land planning ordinance, but as I started drafting it and looked at it closer to me, it gets into zoning, and to change zoning, you gotta start having hearings and all to do it. So, if you were talking to the zoning board members, they may some have the indication that y'all could take action tonight, but I in this email, I made clear that changed a little bit after I looked at it closer, that I think it becomes a zoning decision that you're gonna have to advertise and have hearings for. And we can talk about it in detail, but it talks about a natural disaster like a hurricane, allowing them to use RVs, get a permit to use them, but there's an end to it. It's gonna end, the RV's not gonna be behind that house 10, 20 years from now. That's temporary, and that's what the zoning board's worried about. So I had thought they denied this variance, but
No, they approved it, but they were hinging on you changing that. They approved it with a recommendation that you change it to make sure that.
well, I think they approved it with the idea it's gonna be temporary.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Item
Temporary.
number 6 is a different thing.
It's that, he's going into number 6, that was what they
I see
used.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they
Well,
were,
we don't need to vote on the zoning board variance tonight, do we? We can
I think-
table that till next
a
meeting.
variance can have conditions on it, so y'all could approve I think Samantha's right. Like I told you before, I think with the zoning board meeting, I think they may have had the understanding that y'all could take action to make the change to the ordinances tonight. But what I think y'all can do is grant this ordinance with restrictions on there that they need to adopt, if y'all agree with it, like I've got in here, you need a doctor's excuse, and I think it lasts for 12 months. And then you've got to get another doctor's excuse to continue.
to make sure that it is.
So I'm saying in order to, I'm saying when we approve this exactly based on this new, revised amendment that you made.
Well, the amendment won't be in effect, so you can't do it under the amendment, but we will
Right
take the
now.
words of the amendment and add it to the variance that you're going to grant, if y'all decide to grant it, and condition the variance on that.
So does it need to be rewritten?
No, I think Samantha's right. I think the zoning board did say they were okay with the variance when we talked about this temporary, having some language about temporary use. So, I say this, why don't y'all table that one, and let's read over the zoning amendments, and then we'll come back to that one, because I think you've got some other zoning matters.
And the other two, was Tracy Thomas. She's on 107 Washington Circle. They approved for her to change that from residential to commercial. She just has a little, building out there that she was doing hair. She's got a business in White House that she wanted to do the hair here, and it's like at that dead end, so nobody objected or anything, so the zoning board approved it, if it was okay with y'all to approve it also.
Okay, the zoning board approved the change.
Yes, sir,
Okay,
for Tracy Thomas.
okay, you got it first, you said the zoning board approved that change there. So, if y'all agree with the zoning board, can we have a motion to approve that change?
I motion to approve the change on what the zoning board has approved.
Okay, second, got a motion, and second to change the, zoning over there to Washington Circle. All in favor?
You just about Washington Circle, right?
Yes,
Not the
sir.
other.
This is
That's
what-
right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for Washington Circle.
Yeah. Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve that change to the zoning board to recommend. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, financial report.
Well, there's one more, Mr. Willie. It's, the one on Church Street, the old Martha Carnival place that's right, yes, sir, it's on Church Street, the one right across from like Winkies and Walgreens.
Run about Sam.
In front of Dr. Sam's. Yes, they wanted to change that from residential 1A to commercial, to sell that property. And the one out beside it, which was J.E. Witherspoon's, it's already commercial as well, and everything else around it is commercial. So the zoning board approved,
That they approved.
they approved it
Those changes.
to change it.
Okay.
So,
You heard what she said, the zoning board approved that change. Can we have a motion to, if you show the drive, to go on with the zoning board?
I motion to
Got a motion, and we have a second? Motion and second to approve, go on with the zoning board. All in favor? Any opposed?
now you want to go over there?
Yeah, so the current zoning ordinance has a definition of a travel trailer in there, and you know, I don't think people really refer to these RVs as travel trailers anymore. And so what I have drafted regarding the zoning ordinance is that travel trailer be deleted and a new definition of recreational vehicle or RV be added. And that is a vehicle type, portable structure without permanent or semi-permanent foundation that can be towed, hauled, or driven, and primarily designed as a temporary living accommodations for recreational camping or travel uses, including but not limited to travel trailers, truck campers, camping trailers, self-propelled motorhomes. So it's a more inclusive definition of what people have since 1988. And the zoning board, as I understand it, regularly has people ask for a variance to allow travel trailers, according to the old ordinance, to be put on their property in areas where it's not vision of, well, you know, what happens a year from now, 5 years from now. They've just been granting those variances on a case-by-case basis. And I've only been to 2 zoning meetings in the last few years, and at both of them, they had that request there. So I don't know how often it happens, but it's happening often enough. And rather than just turn them all down, or rather than just grant them all, they expressed a few meetings ago to have a kind of a center ground. And this is kind of after talking a little bit with them and working on something like this before, this is what I've come up with. And it says that recreational vehicles as permanent residences are prohibited unless there's special circumstances.
Right.
Special circumstances, we've got short-term guest housing for people visiting with the RVs to people, and that's a 30-day in one calendar year.
Right.
We've got the recreational vehicles as a short-term residence, not a long-term residence. We've got construction and renovation. If somebody's constructing a house or somebody's renovating their house, or even if somebody who's building a house, you know, where to live out there, it's not their house. And that says short-term residents may not exceed 12 months in a 24-month period. So if that's making sense, you got 2-year periods, you can have one there for 12 months. I've come up with that time period on my own, y'all, you know, let me, any feedback y'all got, let me know. Personal emergency, and I think that's where this one will fit tonight. It can be occupied as residential quarters on a temporary basis by an individual in case of a medical emergency or housing emergency. The housing emergency is a house destroyed by fire, hurricane, tornado, or similar act of God. We all went through that recently. Such short-term residence, again, may not exceed 12 months in a 24-month period and shall be for short-term emergency purposes, verified in writing by a medical professional or the property owner of the stored residence. And I think this request y'all have before you for variance, they indicated that it's to keep the mother independent, you know, have a place for her to live where they can see about her and take care of her. That ought to be something easy to get a doctor's note and bring it in. Let's see, the next is emergency shelter. They maybe use the short-term residences during governmental declared natural and man-made disaster, which back to the hurricane, that would be the same thing. So the short-term guest must get a special circumstances permit and register with the city of Homerville and pay any approved fees. All short-term residential recreational vehicles must be legally registered and tagged. No portion of recreational vehicle may extend or interfere with the use of any sidewalk, right-of-way intended for pedestrian or vehicle traffic. All recreational vehicles must be self-contained with potable water, bottled water, and waste holding tanks. Wastewater may not be disposed on site unless operational permit septic system exists on site and is properly connected. It's got a little more in it about that. So I think, unless Samantha disagrees, I think this is kind of what the zoning board is talking about. They want, this email was sent out to Lynn Robbins, the chairman of the zoning board, and Samantha to get out to everybody and get some feedback. So if I'm getting close to what y'all want, we can fine tune it from there, and maybe by the next meeting set up some hearings to amend the zoning ordinance accordingly.
I like specific stipulations based on different circumstances.
Just leave that as is until we get it.
Well, back to the one in front of you, with a variance, you can always make a variance conditional, I think. So if you granted this variance, if y'all like this language right now, not that it's approved, but it would be approved for this variance, then they're to bring a doctor's excuse and it can last for 12 months.
Yes. Based on what you got written here, I think that's suffice.
And, just come get
They don't
also, I just want to make sure I understand this on section C, emergency shelter and all that. Y'all, you do have where there can be extend a waiver on the maximum. So kind of like for after the hurricane, we still have houses.
Yeah, that may be.
Only, you don't know how long it's going to be before they get to it and work on it.
Yeah, that's right.
So there is a waiver for that, correct? Okay.
And y'all may want that up under the personal emergency as well with a fire and all that.
I like that too. This be, you know,
That makes sense.
because if there's too much.
Contractors are hard to find.
And it might take, what, 6 months to
I'm
start,
gonna
and
make
then
a
12 months to
motion
work on it.
as is.
Well, this is just a reading of it, Mr. Williams. Y'all will give me your feedback tonight and take it home and look at it and see. And there's some feedback already, and we'll see what the zoning board members have. And maybe we can do it by next meeting, if not 2 meetings from now, we have to go a little further. But with the variance, if y'all want to, I think you can grant the variance with the condition that they need a doctor's excuse and it's not to exceed the 12 months. And they can come back to the zoning board after that 12 months for further, to ask for a waiver of that 12 months.
I would like us to go ahead and do that, because I had Thomas Essence for that situation myself.
I think y'all can improve that, and we'll write the variance out and let you know.
Got through that.
Yes, sir, that variance.
I'll motion to have, to okay, as long as the stipulation is adoption excuse and for 12 months.
Second. Motion second to approve. With reference to city attorney to recommend. Any opposed? Okay, not that standard person. Okay,
How to find it.
finance report is
It's in there, yes, sir.
just to look at it, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Crazy to go look at it. Just take it, y'all take it home and just go through it and set what you want, like, or whatever. If you got any questions now, okay. Next item is, Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon.
I want to bring up something about the graveyard. The fellows that working out there, they are burning trash in the graveyard. And to me, it makes it look bad. All that they need to bring the straw and leaves and stuff out there, they should either put it on the side of the road and let the city get it and put it on there, either put it down there by the gate. But they've been burning it, and so then you leave a big pile there. And it look better, or they don't clean up the pile unless they're gonna burn it and then clean the pile up. And at the end of the graveyard, people that have been done, they said ever since Lynn was up here, at the end of the graveyard going out, you got a lot of trees and things back there. And so you can't walk, to the head of the graveyard now. Cause there's trees and grass and stuff, so all that needs to be cut to really, make a circle. And about the roads, well, that was when I think Nan was up here, and we was talking about the roads being done. So I reckon I just can tell y'all about maybe y'all would consider. Because they were saying when they get everything going, and the first road that they were going to try to do was going to be the bike road, the extension road. Because that was the road, well, all of them made it anyway in Homerville, but that was one, people be going through there and messing up the cars and stuff. So I was just wondering, had y'all start considering about doing the roads and what road you're gonna get first and all them things like that in, right?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I applied for the LMIG, which is the grant for the roads, but I had to use the ones that, Wallace had already tried before that we couldn't get for the audits. I got a list of them in there. I think it was, I can't remember, I'll have to get the list. But because the engineering had already been done on those roads, because you have to have the engineering project and with the map out and all of that to turn it in, and it was already at the deadline, so I talked with DOT and they told me if I could just, reapply for the fiscal year 2025 and use the turnip seed engineering that they had already did, because you have to know it starts at this part, ends at this part, and how many miles and all that. So I turned it in and we were granted it. We did get it, and it was for $42,000. But the actual total cost of the project was a little over $109,000 for those roads that were on his list. And just last week, they I found out that they were offering more funds. They were supplement funds from the for the LMIG, and our portion for Homerville would be $52,000 for that, and I applied for it. And it's looking pretty good. I haven't got the acceptance letter yet, and I was hoping I would get that and I could present it tonight, but I didn't get it yet. So if I do, that'll be 90-something thousand, almost enough to do the whole thing without it costing the city anything.
Why does he have that one on his list?
I'm not sure which one that you're asking.
She's talking about the road that run.
Red Street
Front side square.
Red Street
On 1 and 2,
Red Street.
corners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the road.
Red Street extension.
Okay, I'm not sure you want me to go grab the
No,
list.
that's all right. I
You
was-
can go, you can go, I know, all right.
You want me to go grab it? I'll go grab it. Cause I was hoping I can get it all. I'll grab it.
Is that the one which is dirt road?
This is the road, right
Okay.
there. I'm going down Red Street.
You
That
okay.
road. Back man, that's really.
So I'm talking with chatting and, she said she was gonna try to get that was on one of the dirt roads. I was wondering, we need to get addressed with myself.
Chad, I don't know if this helps, but like usually when they say travel trailers, they're specifically talking about ones that you carry on the like a trailer hitch on the back of your vehicle. Okay, I wasn't sure if they mentioned that.
Okay, the ones that he had, that they had already, like I said, figured out, the road name, it says it's Hardy Street. It begins at Bill Street, dead ends on Hardy Street. Then the second one was Washington Circle. It begins at West Plant Avenue and ends at West Plant Avenue. And then the third road was Lenny Street. It begins at West Main Avenue and ends at Lenny Street. Those were the three that he had, and they equaled the 109,000. Now, I can always, they told me that, now that the audits are called up, that for bigger projects, you can add up to 3 years together of what, Homerville would get. And for bigger projects, we can try to, get more roads done. So I'm gonna try to get this first, and then we can add the others. Yes.
Well, who road is that go to the P-Ridge from City or County?
Which road is it?
Going to the right side of the river. Going to the dirt road, going to the bar.
Oh,
Come off of Brown Street.
Goes back and forth.
I'm not sure, because
It's like right on.
it's right on the line. have to look.
I know the county cleaned out the ditches now, and I don't know who the road blocks.
I'm not getting it on that, Ms. Cat, because there's so many that's right on the edge. I could look it up for you though.
And I know the county, they clean the ditches and they keep the road graded. I don't know.
Well, if they ain't grading, then it's theirs, either they're not gonna do it. I would think so. If they're upkeep it, it's theirs.
And, Leon Powell, on, out by the park, right on the corner of Brown Street, and when you turn and go to the park out there, there's a big pile of leaves. So I was just wondering who was supposed to move. I had called up and talked to the girls in the office, but I came up and then I talked to the chief about it. Then they just told me that, somebody in a red truck was going out there piling it up. I really don't know why they thought that was a dump site or whatever. But it's a big pile. And you can tell some of them come out of the yard or where they been cutting, because you know you got blocks like that, where they cut it up and move it. They got stuff like that and they got leaves.
This is you, I'll take a picture of this.
Okay.
I'll look at it.
Okay.
So I want to know what, you know, I reckon the city have to move it out there. But that's what they
Well, somebody called me and saying that there was a,
No, that was
they were saying that there was a.
by Little Brooks and I think the courthouse.
Right,
There
they
was
saw somebody.
a truck with a closed-in trailer that apparently has a long business maybe, and they're bringing the limbs, they're bringing the stuff into the city and putting it out for us to pick up.
That's probably what happened there.
That's probably, that's why I was thinking, I bet it's not big.
There's not a lot of trees.
Because they just did. So I bet that's.
I'll take a picture of this.
Okay, thank you.
But I spoke to Joe Linda, he was talking about the graveyard on the backside of the graveyard, because you remember we went out there one day and looked at the backside of the graveyard going, exiting out like going to the road, which cars is.
Right.
But if you go to that backside where those last graves are right now, that, when it rains, the water still is like, the ground is like, maybe just kind of, what I'm trying to say, washing away or something like that. You know, but there are some, trees there, like a bunch of, like bushes or something like that. But, yeah, but Joe, they did try to cut some of those down, you know what I'm saying? But I think he said something like the chainsaw. But anyway, they have been working on that, because I spoke to Joe Linda about that. And I'll let you know, I'll speak with him again to see, you know, what else they need to finish that up. But I don't know what they're gonna do about the ground right now, where those graves are, right in that corner. Remember we looked at it, right in that corner, it's like a.
They dug a hole one time to go across the road, but when it rained a lot, that first grade right side of the road, it because of the water is nowhere to see.
So,
Okay.
we may have to look at like right after it rains, everybody can look at it and take a picture of it. Let's go there and take a picture of it, kind of see where the water's settling in that corner. There's about 7, 8 graves in that corner, which is kind of covers the
Okay.
graves.
And I
That's what
might
she's talking about.
let Joe look at it, see if there's some way you can help drain it.
Right, because he may not be aware of it. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Better maybe put some kind of berm there.
Yeah, something.
And right after the rain, kind of look at it.
And on that side too, the water is cut off.
The water stuff, that backside.
All over that side, 'cause I went out there, 'cause I always go out there and pressure water, my mama there was praying. And this was a faucet over there, but it's cut off, so.
Is that the one that we're working on?
It might be, because
I know that we're working on one.
Now, they were working on one rest about a very big old tree. But that on the front,
I
the
don't
road.
think there was something about this cut off.
But that ain't the one, when you talking about about the snow. I've been trying that, but I got out and tried some of them, see where they come from. So I don't know whether they got messed up in here a while back.
Isn't that what Joe and them was doing with the hurricane? It messed up some of those lines that it seemed to be dead.
I think
Some of
so.
those water lines, because FEMA come out there. That might be why it's happened, but I'll get with Joe, because they.
But I was thinking that the only one I remember was at the front.
Front, yeah, but I'll tell him about that
Okay.
So you can check it.
And we got a heap of limb, trees, whatever, in Gilligan Circle. So I was wondering who supposed to move that
That's
in.
on the storm, that was the.
And then cause they got very big old trees there and limbs and everything else.
Alright, we're trying to see what else we can do, because you know, they're finished, going around town, but we were trying to see what else we can do, because we got an extension till September, but you still would have to hire, like, we had hired PMJ and the breed tech to monitor, so if we tried to, like, even save money to do it ourselves, you still have to hire a monitoring company.
Then you have to get somebody, cause
To do
the
it.
city won't be able to get it in.
And there's too big,
Yeah,
so it's not
that's a
gonna
big
work to
tree.
carry it, so we're.
Somebody was telling me that somebody's got tanks to pick up the tobacco.
Well,
You might be for,
and the backhoe is tore up right now.
It's still,
James told me it was tore
but
up.
those are big trees for that backhoe, though. You have to get something to pick them up.
Right,
well, it's tore up now, so.
yeah.
But you have to
Sam's
have
working on something concerning that.
permits to
I'm
their
trying
final destinations and
Yeah.
stuff.
to get somewhere to take all of it to. I'm working on it.
All right, let me see if I got anything else. I think that's all.
Okay, Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Now that my hand hurts.
You ready?
All right, well,
Give us a good
no, I stayed with it. The question is, y'all ready? All right, there is I have another one, I'll pass out, I think we're doing this one, but there's a retirement fund summary plan features that you all have. I know we can't go over it tonight, but there's some different options in reference to the retirement for the employees here. Whenever you look at the benefits that's on here, you have the disability, and then you have early retirement vested. I'm gonna just brief on a few of these. You also have the disability side and the early retirement. It also has the population. They have different municipalities that's in this program, and the one that has the least employees, if I'm not mistaken, is 430. So this right here is the universal retirement from the Georgia Municipal Association, and it has some good features in it. And at you all's leisure, y'all can review that. I have another one to present here. Y'all might like this one.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
What I just handed you all is if you turn to page 2, it's a structure of a new building. And then also on page 3, it's the layout. Of course, we know that the building we have has been here since 1940, having different issues and things like that. There is a grant that is called the Rural Development Community Facility Grant Program, which if there's a town has less than 5,000 people or population, then we could qualify for this grant. And looking at the building, it would suit us quite well, because one thing about it, if we're gonna move forward, we need to plan for the future.
That's right.
However, we're paused on that because we're running out of space. And this building would be a great addition, especially with the land that's provided, that the city has. And with this building, we can have city hall, the police department, maybe the fire department, different offices like that, because it would be a universal municipal building. It had an upstairs, downstairs, and then looking at the layout, it had all kind of nice amenities that will help as well. And then we won't have to worry about the plumbing, the AC messing up and stuff like that, because it'll be pretty much brand new.
Right.
So, I gave that to you all to review.
Thank you, Chief.
And then also my next, as it come up to June the 10th, June the 10th of this year, which that will be the day that Sergeant Register lost his life. In the line of duty here for Homerville Police Department. I would like and requesting a proclamation for that day for him, so that we can honor him in a proper manner, because over the years, he has been left behind and forgotten. So he gave the ultimate sacrifice, and I think that speaks volumes for him and his family. And if we can do that on June the 10th, I would like to present that as a plaque to the family. And, we keep on moving forward, because every year we started it since I took office, because it was forgotten. So we started that, and I think this is going on the second year that we have honored this young man. He, the first time, whenever we presented the plaque, he was issued a badge number, which that was retired. He was promoted him to sergeant and retired his number and badge. So this is very heartfelt, and it needed to be done, because whenever people are lost and they give the ultimate sacrifice, and me being in the shoes that I'm in, I do not want to ever, and I hope it don't happen, and I pray it don't, that I have to come to anybody in the states that, hey, this officer got killed in line of duty. I have been to various funerals, been in processions, different things like that. It is never an easy task each time. However, being an department head and having to orchestrate all of this, that will weigh on you a whole lot. So this is why I asked for a proclamation, so that we can do it for honor and do it in order and proper. So I think that's all that I have. I gave you three things to think of also. And then also with the new building, looking at it, if the power goes out, we'll have a generator. So, and then they have other safety mechanisms in it, and have a gated in, fenced in, employee area and stuff like that.
Is that a grant that you apply for? He was talking about that grant.
Yes, we have those now, and we're waiting on the equipment. They should be coming next week. And with that, they'll put it in. And so we have the vehicles, they're over there in the plant. I have mine, and the other two will be done whenever they get there. They said next week. And the problem with that was, with the turfs and all this other stuff has been backlogged, so that's why we had to wait a little bit. But we do have it.
Also, what about the radios?
Radios, we still having issues with the radios. I'm waiting on the quote for that. But like I said beforehand, with the radios, that is the first line of our defense. And there's been, like I was saying beforehand, there's been times when they try to get out on the radio and stuff like that, and they don't get out. And I also had to tussle with somebody, and he couldn't get out on the radio and stuff like that. So,
They still haven't got the quotes.
sorry.
They still haven't got the quotes.
Well, the last quote that we had is an estimate between $10 and $15 for us to have our own radio system, because right now we're sharing it with the sheriff's office. And the issue with this area is I would say below sea level, but it's not, it's below swamp level somewhat, because, and then with the other towers being down, it has to go 7 miles out of the city and then come back. So the signal has to go 7 miles and then travel back. So there's a lot of interruptions going and coming. And even with that part of it, if we had a different system, and then also brought up to where they have the modems and the routers and different things like that to help with the signals and stuff And we have, I can say, but we have one of those as well. It's on the post, but it's a task dealing with these radios, and I'm in fear of something to happen and somebody's going to get hurt or killed because we cannot have we don't have a working radio system. And everybody, and try to alleviate some of that, which it really is a low percentage. All the officers are issued a cell phone. So just in case the radio isn't working, dispatch can call them on the phone. However, even with that, that's not 100% accurate because of the signal in this area. So it's sometimes it's a hit and miss, but we do what we can with what we have at the moment. So I think that's my presentation. Anybody got any other questions?
So what do you need as far as the radios are concerned?
The radios, if I would like to have our own system. And that way we don't have, I mean, it's great, and it's great with, like we posted on Facebook about mutual aid. Mutual aid is joining with the sheriff's office so that we can do better for the community. That's great. We're looking at, I really want us to have our own radio system because we don't have to depend on anybody else's radio for assistance. There's nothing wrong with that, but in the past, when I talked to clients, they stated that there was a quote done for the radio system for the police department, and it was approved somewhere in between years back. The ball was dropped or something. So I'm not sure. I can't go back in the past and reinvent the wheel, which we're not. We're working on what's now. So what's now is we have they'll give us a quote, and I would like to have our own radio system to where we can communicate ourselves, because if we had our own radio system with a tower close by, we can go into stores, we can go into different places and hear the radio. And the problem is when we go in these different places and the signal isn't this strong, we can't hear it. Dispatch can be calling and stuff like that. Now we got to step out, we got to do all this other precautionary, and then on top of that, people can hear the radio. So that's another issue. If somebody wants to do something, of course, we already know by now everybody has a scanner. But if we get our own radio system, there's other ways that I can help solve that problem a little bit.
That's the nice thing about visual scrambles with Roger.
Mm-hmm. And it is a very, it's a good, let's say, piece of equipment. I know that for a fact.
Because I have a flavor car, driving company, linear cars, that's what they have.
And then if you have somebody that, and this is another issue, is if somebody has a radio, they can get on in, key it up and talk to them. So now we're open, we're compromising, and we're ripping and running this place and that place, and people can hear it. There was, when we had a rash of those crimes, different crimes within the last year and a half, looking at different things, looking at videotapes and talking to people, they had radio, they had phones where they could hear us. So this is why they was at least a few steps ahead. However, by them being a few steps ahead, apparently somewhere in between they tripped and we caught them. So that's another safety issue, because people can call stuff and say stuff, and then we wind up going in and getting ambushed and things like that. So the world is the same, but people in the world are a little different, and people, the world is not evil, it's the people. So we have to stay a few steps ahead.
That's right.
We have to do the best we can with the safety of the officers and the community, because if we can't make it there safe, if we can't safeguard ourselves, then we can't help nobody else.
So do you think you'll have a quote within the next week or?
Yes, ma'am, I have that problem tomorrow, so I'm working on that.
One time the city did have their own radio system, Washington had their radio system in the county, but they come up with the 911, that's the way we all went to combine everything.
And the thing is, I checked with dispatch, and they have a slot for, they have another open slot on I would say, at the center, they have an open slot for us that we can add in our radio system and stuff like that. So it's doable. It's doable. We checked all of that stuff.
Good job, Chief. Y'all doing a good job.
Man, we appreciate it. We still got a long ways to go. We trying to get everything set up for the future because, you know, we need space and all that. And, you know, the more that we do, the better that we can serve the community.
That's right.
Anything else, Chief?
Glad to be here. Thank you. Oh, and then, one more thing, and then, there's other things that we're gonna work with the paper on, adding information and stuff like that, so we're gonna start working more with them and I forgot your name. Yeah, and we was conversating on that, and you know, that's one of the best resources. We're gonna get on a few other things, and then, go from there. I just wanted to put that out there as well. But, yes, sir, that's it, Mr. Will.
That's it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. I guess with it already, I read out. Oh, thank you. I want to mention that railroad is in front of my house, both sides. It easily open.
Okay. We already get started. All right, I'll do that.
Well, there's some of the city workers to mow it, you could hire somebody to mow it this winter, just like we do the airport out there. And who's the new person for water department that took up that?
Oh, that's Madison Teston.
Who?
Madison Teston, Shirley Teston's,
Oh,
stepdaughter.
Shirley Teston, yeah.
Uh,
I know her.
Shirley's stepdaughter. Mhm.
Work with her.
Yes, sir. She's doing great with it. She's been catching on quick.
Yeah,
It's good.
okay, that's all right. Question.
And seems very appreciative and glad she's got it.
Yes.
Okay, is that right?
No, I don't have that.
And Miss Williams?
But you probably discussed the cemetery, and I already had a conversation with Joe, and we discussed the zoning, so I'm just, you know, hoping that, you know, with the things that we discussed, that the issues will be resolved, as, you know, as soon as they can be.
Mr. Smith? Okay, Mr. Attorney?
We probably need executive session.
Oh, we can go in executive, okay. Okay, yeah, anybody got anything for the regular session? Not to the motion, go quiet this meeting and then go into the executive session.
I motion to, of course, leave normal session, go into executive session.
I'm sorry.
Motion second, come out, and go into executive session. All approved? Opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned.